Okay, so now we're going to do a slight modification to our Fibonacci recursive program that we wrote.
Yeah, so I hope that you guys didn't close it, but if you did, file open project and you're back in business.
All right.
We want to make it so that you actually interact with the program. The program's going to ask you for input. You input an integer. The integer is going to actually dictate the outcome of the Fibonacci sequence.
Right.
So it's dynamic,
So
it's
instead of
personalized.
Fibonacci 8, you can tell it what that number is.
Yeah, so let's do it, man.
All right.
Let's get this done.
So the first thing we want to do is we want to import the Java I/O classes,
And
the input-output classes.
We put that right below the package fib, right? You know, package name. So we're going to do import. And this is going to be what is that again?
Java.io.asterisk, so all subclasses, semicolon. Okay, so now we got that imported. Let's make another function which is going to be like our buffered reader.
And we're going to put this, we have this public main function. This new little thing that we're going to add, which I think we're just declaring a static variable, so to speak. This is going to be declared between main and static main. So right here, Brian's going to read off to me what I'm typing.
So this is going to be a private class, and it's going to be static. We're going to call this buffered reader, capital B and capital R. B-U-F-F-E-R-E-D, reader.
One word.
Yep. And space, a standard input, STDIN, and that's equal a new.
I'm going to take this to the next line.
All right. A new instance of buffered reader, capital B, capital R, and then in parentheses, we're going to make a new instance within that, input stream reader, all capital first letters of a
Function?
Yep, and then in parentheses, system, capital S, dot .in.
And that's going to be inside here.
Yep, capital S.
I'm sorry?
It's all right. Yep. And semicolon at the very end.
All right, so those of you that are working with more space will be able to write this on one line. I just broke it up for readability purposes for this tutorial. And just real quick, Bryan, do we have a line number option?
All right, so to show the line numbers, we're going to right-click on that left bar,
This?
right, and show line numbers.
Aha! That way, instead of like referring to this spot right here, we could actually refer to a line number.
Right.
Now the new chain is going to happen inside the main function.
Right. Okay, so first we want to print out some sort of caption telling the user to enter a number.
Okay.
So it's going to be system out print, and we'll say enter a number for Fibonacci sequence. Or just enter a number.
That was what I was going to do.
All right, so on the next line, let's do a string, a type string,
Capital S in Java.
and let's call this input, and that's going to be equal to a standard in stdin dot read line with a capital L, and then parentheses, semicolon.
Okay.
Okay. On the next line, let's define a integer I, and that's throwing us an error because we haven't quite used it yet.
Actually, Bryan, you missed one thing. You missed on the
yes, I'm sorry.
public. I'm going to take this down. This is just the static main function. The reason that this has an error is because there's actually one other thing that we have to add to this line in order to get user input.
Right.
And that is the exception, right?
Right. So we want to throw, that's actually throws plural, IO exception, capital IOE. Java seems to be just a very paranoid language. It doesn't want any instance of any problems to happen possible.
Yes. Well, in a way, it kind of helps the developer, you know, because when you're writing code and you see that there are these problems throughout, that that there's something above you that has that's potentially a serious problem.
Right.
Make sure that you guys got that line 27. Huh? You like the line number stuff? Okay, so let's just continue on like that never happened.
Sorry about that. All right, so let's define an integer I to be equal to 0. All right, so on the next line, I is going to be integer with a capital I dot parse int with a capital I and input.
Okay, now just to give a quick explanation as to why we're doing it this way, because the read line is going to grab it as a string. So what we're going to do after that is just convert it to an integer.
Right.
That's all that this is doing. It's just making I equal the integer value of read line. Okay.
So now instead of the number 8, we should be able to use I.
Okay.
And off we go.
Just a quick look at the code. Everything here is what we added with the exception of way up here on line 11, the import Java IO. So you guys can pause the screen, code that. I'm going to push F6 and let her rock. Now it's asking us for input. And since we're kind of running this in this controlled IDE and not a console, we actually put the input in down here as opposed to in the actual console.
So let's input the number 8.
Enter.
And there we go.
Yeah, except for it didn't actually prompt us for enter a number.
Right, if you were actually building this program and running it as an actual program and not inside of this IDE, you would have been prompted beforehand.
Okay, so is there anything you want to add to this?
No?
Okay.